Here's a walkthrough on how to reliably and consistently get a list of case studies off of any website. So here is a list of case studies that I've gotten from Anthropic.com. You can see that there is a whole bunch here, and I have condensed the information into the company name, the type of, is it a case study or a testimonial, the link in case we want to go in there and, extract the text from there and, do something with AI on that text, a very brief summary of the outcome, and then confidence. And for the outcome, I think I prompted it so that it tries to find quantitative outcome if it is able to, because oftentimes I find that that's just a good proxy to quickly understand, what the target company is good at, like what kind of outcome are they delivering, right? So why is this interesting or important? Obviously, it's a really good way to get a quick pulse on any company's ICP. Like if they're writing case studies about these companies and posting them on their website, it's likely that the company wants to find more customers like these. So it often tells us a lot implicitly about what types of customers they're looking for or what types of customers they can deliver value to. And so whenever I get inbounds, I like to go in and do this because then I can find, like what types of customers are you, trying to target and so forth, and really prep myself for the call ahead of time and kind of understand what types of companies, they might want to work with and what they might need help with, right? It's also helpful if you have case studies to pull a list of lookalike customers, right? So if we know that Anthropic thinks ASAP and Humac are good customers, right? Then we can run a lookalike analysis on these companies and try to find more companies that are like them. So all that said, I'll show you how I do it and how I try to strive for a consistent and reliable workflow here by combining code and AI. And so I think that's the other thing that's kind of interesting about this walkthrough, hopefully, is that how do you blend something that is deterministic like code with something that is not deterministic like AI to ensure that the output is reliable and consistent. So I'll try to kind of give you some reasoning and the strategy behind how I've set up this workflow. Cool. So this is the final output. And for the input, all we take is just the company URL, right? So you can see it here. It says anthropic.com. And what we do is, given this company URL, we put together a search query for Google. So we use serperdev, .dev, and this is the search query that we run. So site, and then we feed in the company URL, in this case, anthropic.com. And then we have a bunch of these Boolean search terms, because we don't know if on any given company, if they're going to call it case studies or customer success stories or testimonials or whatever, right? So we have a whole bunch of these combinations that are strung together with an or. So if any of these hits, bring those results back. And I'm just capping it at 20 results because we're not necessarily looking for hundreds of case studies, because there are companies that have that amount, but we're just trying to get a good sort of pulse on, who their best customers are and what types of outcomes they deliver. But you can always change this number of results to 50 or whatever. Obviously, you have to have an API key to serperdev. Now, you can use this with other SERP services. I just use Serper, and I have an API key, but obviously not sharing it here. And when you run it, you get something like this, right? Where it's they show you the search parameters, and then they just give you all of the organic results, right? A whole bunch of them. Now, like, so Google is pretty good at getting the results, right? But like, how do you know which ones are actually case studies or not? Like, it's not super easy to just like take this and just kind of assume that every link, every result that you get back is going to be a case study, even though the top 5, 10 might be case studies, because again, Google is quite good at searching, right? Like, that's what they're good at. So what I do, just to ensure that we're pulling just the case studies and not maybe their blog posts that are irrelevant or whatever, right, is I run it through an LLM. So I'm using Anthropic here, and what I do is I give it this long prompt of, okay, so here are the search results, right? And analyze these search results and basically categorize them into 2 buckets. The first is individual stories. So if in the search results you're able to find individual case studies, put them in this bucket. Or if they're hub pages, this often comes up when you do Google search, where it's like you look for Anthropic case studies, and then one of the first results will be sort of the, like a hub page that has links out to the individual case studies, right? Those are great because you scrape the links from there, and then you can get a whole bunch of individual case studies, but you need to process it, right? You need to go to that hub page, get all the links, and then go to those individual pages, and that's what we'll be doing. And that's the reason why I'm telling the LLM to bucket the results into individual case studies versus hub pages. Cool, hopefully that makes sense. But you can see here, right? So we have a whole bunch of these individual stories like ASAP, case study, Humac, intercom, appfolio, and then it also, okay, there's a whole bunch, and then it also finds these this one hub page, right, where it says title is just customers, and there's a link, right? It's very generic. It shows like anthropic.com/customers, right? Customer stories hub. So you can see that there's probably a whole bunch of case studies hosted or linked on this page, right? And that's what we're going to do, because yes, we have some individual stories with a pretty high confidence score, which is great, but there's probably a lot more. You know, Anthropic is a big company, and so we want to go and find those. So what we're going to do now is we pass the hub pages into a loop, right? So there might be multiple hub pages. Some companies have like customers, testimonials, what our customers say, whatever, right? So if there's multiple hub pages, then we iterate through those. And what we do is we scrape that hub page and we get all of the links from those hub pages, right? So I just did it. I did Markdown because we don't care about images or HTML elements. All we want is the link. So Markdown is a lot easier to deal with, less tokens, right? And then I pass that to another LLM to say, this is basically the content from that hub page. Analyze each entry and try to look for URLs, right? URLs that are containing case study, testimonial, customer story, right? Look at the title, the content analysis, validation rules. So it must be a direct link, exclude general blog posts or product announcements, right? And here's the markdown. And then give me the company type, link, outcome, and confidence, right? So when it does that, it then gets even more case studies from those hub pages, right? So a whole bunch here. And then lastly, what we do is we use code to basically combine the results from the original SERP results, right? Where you got a whole bunch from Google direct, and then from our hub page extraction, where we sent a scraper to get all the links from the hub page, and then all the individual links were run through the LLM to determine whether they were indeed a case study or not. Those were outputted into a list, and so we combine these two lists to create an aggregate list, which in this case has I believe 13 results. And I think there was like 10 here, and then there were like 3 here, and then there were some duplicates across the two. But yeah, so that's how we did this. And you know, it's, again, just to show you the results again, it's very consistent. It's very clean in terms of the output, because we have stipulated the schema of the object that should be returned. You know, it should include company, type, link, outcome, confidence, right? And so now what we can do is take this array of case studies, and then maybe we'll pass it to another scraper to actually go into each of these case studies and read and pull out the case study, give me like a longer summary. Or if, for example, we can run the conditional logic where if the confidence is below 0.8, then go in there and then like validate whether it is indeed a legitimate case study or not, right? Like, but because we use this code to basically structure the output in a way that is predictable, right? It will always return these key value pairs in each object. It's really easy now to like take this and then you know, insert it as an input to the start of another workflow, for example. Cool. So I mentioned that sort of combining AI and code together kind of results in this sort of reliable and consistent outcome at the start of this walkthrough. And as you can see, that's how we do it, right? We wrote some code to like pull SERPer results. Then we ran them through an LLM to determine whether it was an individual case study or a hub page. Then we ran some code to go extract the content of the hub page. Then we again got an LLM to determine all the links and whether there were individual case studies or not, right? And then lastly, we ran code again to basically sort of aggregate the two lists together and then return them in a very defined schema so that we know the shape of the output, which then can again be used as an input in another workflow. Cool. So hopefully you found this useful. As always, if you have any questions, you know where to find me on LinkedIn, and feel free to reach out. Thanks.